Hey everybody, Jackson Fuller here, sports writer with the Star News, and in addition to my weekly World Cup column, I'll be sitting down with a couple of local soccer personalities over the course of this summer to discuss the upcoming tournament and all the storylines that come out of the World Cup over in Russia. This week, Jamie Noble, head coach of the Laney boys and girls varsity soccer teams, was kind enough to join me here in the office, and we discussed our favorite storylines heading into the Cup, who we're cheering for, and made some bold predictions for you guys. So the tournament kicks off this Thursday at 11 a.m. as Russia takes on Saudi Arabia in the tournament's first match. And before then, here are some things that you might need to know for the upcoming World Cup. Enjoy.
Thank you very much, Jamie, for coming in today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Pleasure.
First off, my column that I wrote last Friday about the World Cup focused on 10 teams that you guys could cheer for since the USA is not in the World Cup. So first off, Jamie, who are you going to be cheering for this season?
Yeah, I'm torn between Spain and Argentina, but I'm going to go Argentina. I'm a big Messi guy. I think he's one of the best players of this generation, very transcendent player. I know he gets a lot of praise, but for me, he doesn't get as much as he deserves because he makes things look very easy out there. With my heart, I'm thinking Argentina. With my head, I'm thinking Spain. But Messi's gonna have a tough time because his defense is not very good. So, if he carries the team to the finals, it would be like a LeBron-esque Cavaliers team. But I'm hoping Argentina can do well.
Yeah, and like you said, he's doesn't have a great team around him. But if he could lift them to a win or something like that in the World Cup, it would be a pretty incredible story, especially for Messi. And as I wrote down in the column, I'm going to be cheering for Belgium. My favorite player is Eden Hazard. He plays for my favorite club in Chelsea, but I just love the mix of youth and a little bit of old age, but for the most part, it's a young team that's kind of coming together for a big tournament that they've kind of had their eyes on, I think, ever since these guys were 18, 19, 20 years old, looking at this was the time where all the players would be in their prime and have a chance to win a World Cup. Next up, favorite storyline, or the storyline we're most looking forward to. Jamie, you said you think it's going to be VAR is what you're looking forward to.
Yeah, that's the video assistant referee, and we've seen it implemented in some domestic leagues around the world, and sometimes good, sometimes bad. And I think the biggest thing that we all want as sports fans at this point in time when we have the technology available is to use it and get the calls right. And I'm hoping that it goes off without a hitch and it's able to be used in a positive way that maybe catches something that the referees or the assistant referees don't.
So I guess you kind of answered my next hypothetical question, but as a high school coach, obviously there's not really enough money in North Carolina high school athletics for VAR, but if it were an option, you'd be all for it? Because I know some coaches, even at the professional level, aren't really for this technology.
Yeah, I think, you hear things like, oh, it slows the game down, or, other complaints, but I mean, for me, at the end of the day, we want to get the call right, and whether that helps my team or hurts my team, I think the most important thing in the spirit of the game is to get the call right. So
yeah. And we've had in the NBA Finals, we've had some controversy with going back and looking at replay. So there's definitely going to be, I think, some controversy and debate at the World Cup with VAR, but hopefully it all runs smoothly enough when we get there.
I think definitely if it leads to a penalty or a send off, big time, people start talking for sure.
Hopefully we don't talk about it at the World Cup. My favorite storyline I'm looking forward to is a team that Jamie already mentioned, Spain. Can they bounce back? In 2014, they went 3-0. They only won one game, didn't make it past the group stage after winning the 2010 World Cup. So I'm really going to be looking forward to how that team kind of bounces back. They're surrounded with talent all over the field, a new head coach compared to last time when I think maybe they tried to do the same thing that they did in 2010, and just like, any team trying to defend a title, you've got to break some stuff up or else it gets a little too boring and the tasks become repetitive. So I'm really looking forward to see how they do it. I think they've got a great chance to win the whole thing, but I really want to see their mentality when they take the field, how much more fun it looks like this year compared to 2014.
Yeah, I think they've probably got the best team as far as the parts that fit together. They got a nice mix of youth and experience as some of these players that people would recognize. Sergio Ramos, PK, Isco, I mean, they're all good players, and their manager today is just named the new manager at Real Madrid, so there's a lot of potential in that squad for sure.
I wrote down his name because I couldn't pronounce it off the top of my head, but Julen Lopetegui, new Real Madrid manager, so hopefully I pronounced that right. Okay, so the first week, what game are you most looking forward to watching?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of interesting fixtures on the docket there. But for me, I like Sunday 6/17. It's Germany versus Mexico. That's the CONCACAF champion out of our area, and these two teams actually played each other in the Confederations Cup, and Germany embarrassed them 4-1. So for Mexico being the toast of our area, of our region, have they closed that gap? Are they better? Because they're another team that's experienced a lot of frustrations as far as advancing through the knockout round, and they've probably got as much talent as they've ever had, so this would be a big test for them for sure.
Yeah, definitely, and that Germany team that beat them was a B squad almost,
yes.
So it's going to be a real tall task for Mexico, but their focus is really on getting past the round of 16, something that they haven't done, I think, since 1986 might have been the last time that they did that, so huge challenge for Mexico, but that's going to be an awesome game. I'm looking forward to Argentina-Iceland, which is Saturday at 9 a.m., June 16th, and you mentioned Lionel Messi and Argentina, and that's the team that you're cheering for, but Iceland's going to be a team that I think a lot of Americans kind of jump on the bandwagon, the small country, the underdog storyline, so I'm really looking forward to the Twitter feed when those two teams play, see who's leaning where, and whether people cheer for the best player in the world or maybe the underdog team.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're going to make some picks now. Jamie, who is your pick to be most likely to disappoint at this World Cup?
All right, I hate to do this, but my team most likely to disappoint is England. And, the casual soccer fan in America has probably seen a lot of Premier League games, and so they'll know a lot of these players. I think they have no problem getting out of their group. At least I hope not, with Tunisia and Panama in there. They ought to be, favorites. But once they get to the knockout round, it's going to be tough for them. And I think, we're talking about having the right mixture of experience in youth, and their team that's just maybe one World Cup cycle away from having a lot of their core players in their prime ready to go. So I think they're maybe just one tournament away from being really something to be reckoned with. But they're my team to disappoint.
Okay, and my pick is actually something Jamie's probably not going to want to hear. I think Argentina might disappoint. I think they'll easily get out of the group, but they're going to struggle in the knockout round when you've got players like Messi and a bunch of talent up front, but they really lack that good central defensive midfielder and then the defense behind. I mean, if they go up against a top opponent in the round of 16, I wouldn't be surprised if they give in 3 or 4 goals.
Yeah, they're going to struggle to cover in the midfield, and they're going to be missing defensively. They're missing their goalkeeper, so it's a lot of if they can't beat somebody in a shootout, they're going to be in trouble, I think.
Okay, team that you look for to surprise everybody a little bit.
I think for me it's the Ticos of Costa Rica. They have a very good goalkeeper in Keylor Navas. He's the goalkeeper at Real Madrid. They obviously did better than the U.S. in qualifying in this region, and they've had some success in the previous World Cup. So, they're a team that's just kind of a tough matchup, and they can play. Last time they played a 3-5-2, which gave people some trouble. So, on their day, I think they can, maybe pull off some 1-0s and maybe sneak out some results if they can. So I think the Ticos are a team to look out for.
Sweet, yeah. And my pick is Denmark. I think that's a team in Group D. They have to compete with France and Peru and Australia as the 3 teams, but I think they could easily come out of that group alive. And if they were to do that, I think they have an opportunity in a one-game scenario with players like Christian Eriksen to move on, and maybe the quarterfinals is their limit, but I think they could easily get there, and that would be quite an achievement for Denmark.
Yeah, I think Eriksen's a very underrated player for Tottenham, and it is brilliant for them every weekend in London. But I think they are a scary potential team. Yeah.
All right, and our Final Four and champions.
All right, my Final Four. I've got shouldn't really be shocking here. I guess Spain, France, Brazil, and Germany. I've got France beating Brazil and Spain beating France, so that sets up a final of Spain and France, and I've got Spain as my champ.
And I've got a very similar Final Four: France, Spain, Brazil, and I've actually got England. Jamie's pick to disappoint. I just think that normally with England, the pressure gets to them. I'm hopeful that these young guys and that maybe that lack of the experience of being here is a positive for them. They don't really know what else to do since so many of these guys are on the first time as stars on a World Cup stage. I don't think they get past there. I've got Spain beating England, Brazil beating France, and then Brazil winning the World Cup. So save this video when you want to come back and tell us how wrong we were about all of these predictions. We really look forward to that. And again, thank you, Jamie, so much for joining me. Hopefully he's going to come back a little bit later on this World Cup, and we'll do another video like this, maybe more than just one. And everybody enjoy the World Cup. I think we're both really excited for it, and it should be a fun summer of soccer.